All right. So first off, Coop, thank you for making time for me today. I appreciate it. But before we get into the questions, I want to give some background for the people who, watch this on our friendship and how long we've known each other for. So, we've known each other, since preschool, played baseball growing up, all through high school. And, I've seen firsthand how hard you've had to work, not just to play D1 baseball at University of Portland, dominate there, but also grind your way through the minor leagues and then eventually make it to the big leagues and, make the dream a reality. But to add on that, I was also fortunate enough to see you make your MLB debut with Arizona, which was pretty cool. And now I get to watch you help, my favorite team, the Mariners, win a championship. So
my favorite team too. So
I know it's funny how things come full circle. So with that said, I've known you for a long time. I've, known the struggles that we've gone through as baseball players. So, in my opinion, there's probably a lot of young kids out there that look at players like you for motivation and inspiration. So what I'd like to know is your story from Little League to the big leagues and what it was like being doubted for being too small pretty much your entire life.
Dude, how long do we have? I mean, I've joked that I need to write a book about this stuff because it's like whether it's Little League, like you brought up, like obviously we played against each other in Little League. Obviously we went to preschool and kindergarten together or whatever. And by no means was I anywhere close to the biggest, but, probably definitely always the smallest. It started in Little League and like never was the biggest, kind of always doubted. I played well. I wasn't like I was untalented, but like when your Little League team has Mitch Lomax, who's the son of Neil Lomax and played in the NFL, and guys like Calvin Hermanson, who's playing professional basketball now. And those are just two big names that come up to my top of my head because they were 6'2" and 6'3" respectively, like at 12 years old, and I was the shortest on my team by like, I don't know, 3 or 4 inches aside from the coach's son, who was like maybe an inch or two taller than me. But even then, like everyone else was 5 inches taller than me. Like there wasn't anyone else that was my size. And so like, I think you kind of like get tossed aside or like thought of differently because of that. And you just kind of got to find your way. I mean, my way was leaving the local program, that's when you and I played together in travel ball. We both kind of left and did our own thing, wanted to play more baseball. You kind of got to find your way in order to make yourself a better baseball player. And like, that's all I wanted to do. Like literally those preschool things that we filled out, like, what do you want to be when you grow up? Baseball player was always on. It was like always number one. And it was like, oh, I want to be an astronaut this year. And I want to be a firefighter this year. It's like the other 2 and 3, but it always changed what 2 and 3 were, but baseball player was always number one. And so like, when that's the only thing in your head, it's like you find a way to make it happen. And like, it didn't matter whether I did everything right in junior high to make myself a better baseball player. Like freshman year, of course, the same things come up. Like you're the smallest, you're not that good. My JV coach literally told me, you will never amount to anything in baseball. Be word for word, you will never amount to anything in baseball.
Yeah.
Like if you were to do that, like you need to stop switch hitting now. No, like that's not me. You're never going to catch for sure. So like bang that too. Well, first off, like, why would I ever want to be like put up with that? Like, I don't want to try to like put up with someone that doesn't believe in me. Like, so of course I left and, it was my whole goal and mindset just to piss people off and prove people wrong. And it's been like that ever since. Like, I just, I've had a speed bump everywhere, the minors, and it's not about, proving myself right. I already know I'm good. I've known I was good since I was 5 years old. But, some people think that's cocky. It's like, no, I'm just confident in myself and you're all wrong. And that's how I have to like live my life in sports, And there's a ton of kids out there that deal with this all the time.
Yeah, no, I agree. I was one of them, and it's a funny story. It's like, it seems like, sometimes the people who are most successful need those haters, right? And use those haters to their advantage. And will never forget those people, right? We obviously went on a different journey, but I had a teacher who brought my parents in because, I was like one of those kids that couldn't focus very well, always distracting others. But I'll never forget. Yeah. I was my 10th grade teacher. She brought my parents in and he goes, he will never finish college if he can't improve his focus. And, here I am with a JD and MBA.
Yeah.
Graduated college, summa cum laude. And it's like, I'll never forget her, for better or worse. She motivated me. And I always thought about her every time I, progressed in my academic career.
Absolutely.
But, one thing I wanted to touch on what you said is, you knew you were always good. And, I think people underestimate the power of confidence in baseball.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when I was in college, I didn't have the best stuff, but, and I was playing D2, but I just had this confidence that I felt like everyone that I was facing, I was better than. And it gave me an edge, right? And I feel like people need to understand how powerful confidence can be. And another thing I want to touch on is, how do you think that chip on your shoulder of being doubted from, hearing from your JV coach that you're never going to amount to anything has helped you get to where you are today?
Yeah. I mean, like the confidence, like you said it was like, even like playing D2 for you, it's like, dude, I saw you pitch. Like you walked out there with some swagger every freaking day. You walked off the mound like you owned the place. And like, whether you did that day or you didn't, you still walked at the walk. Like, and it's the same thing for me. It's like, you need to be able to go out there and basically say like, oh, I don't care. I'm facing Corbin Burns today. Like, dude just won a Cy Young last year. And he was my favorite guy to face this year. Not only because like he's good or because I had success off him, but because one, he was my roommate in the minors. So like, more competition for me. 2, I got to stick it to Milwaukee, who traded me away. And 3, it's like, no, I just think I'm better than you. Like tons of people out there will probably look at me and be like, dude, he's a Cy Young winner and you have 132 days in the big leagues. Like you can shut up. Like,
yeah. And it's not even that you think they're not good. It's just a confidence in yourself. Like I'll never forget playing Cooper ball for Johnny Gomes, who's Joey Gomes' brother. And he was like, talking about how important confidence is. And he mentioned Mike Napoli. And he's like, if you ask Mike Napoli who the best hitter in baseball was, and obviously like, Mike Napoli, he could hit a little bit, but he wasn't hitting for average. And when he was hitting, it was like 200 with a home run, right? Like it was never consistent. But he said that if you asked him who was the best hitter in the league, he was like, are you kidding me? It's me. I'm the best hitter in the MLB. And it's like, it's not that you don't think other people are good or you think pitchers are bad. It's just like, you got to have that confidence to succeed because you're going to go through a lot of failure. Right. And you've experienced that and you got to maintain that confidence. So. Yeah.
I mean, like if I'm going up there giving every pitch, like I have to give pitchers props. Like it's half my job of being a catcher, like part-time is like, okay, yeah, I'm going to go pat him on the back and basically, dude, your stuff's incredible. No one's going to hit you. But like in the back of my head and I go face him at spring training, it's like, dude, you suck. And like, I'm so much better than you. Like, that's just the mindset. Not saying he actually does. It's like, if you have the confidence in it that you're going to beat him, it's like, okay, at the end of the day, yeah, they're really good. Like there's a reason everyone's here is they're good. But like, if I don't have the confidence, I'm already failed.
Yeah. You're already losing and you're not going to make it. Right.
Absolutely.
It's like, it's one of those things, especially at the big leagues when everyone is the best player, wherever they came from.
Yes.
You don't have confidence. You think someone's better than you. Well, that's your quickest way to get out of the big leagues.
Exactly. So, we were all state pitchers or hitters, or we were all player of the year, or we were all Division I or Division II and like the best in our league or close to the best in our league. And we, the reason you moved up from high A to double A to triple A is that, you were the best that year. Like you made the round of cuts. You were good enough to move on. And every single person here was good enough to get to the big leagues from AAA. And there's a reason why. Like, yeah, doesn't matter who you are. Like even the guys were like, dude, I don't know how he's made it this far. It's like, he's good enough to be here, whether you're a hitter or a pitcher. Like he made it here. Like, I mean, there are guys that throw 88 miles an hour in the big leagues and everyone goes, oh, his stuff's not that good. It's like, yeah, but he can hit a freaking spot better than anyone in baseball. Like he is that good. Like he made it here. Yeah.
Yeah. So next thing I want to ask you is if you could go back and tell yourself what you know now, right? And I think this is like a common question a lot of people get, or like, hindsight bias, right? If you could go back and tell yourself what you know now that would have helped your career at a younger age, what would it be?
Dude, I don't even know if I So I said I did an interview with Seattle Mariners broadcast network a few weeks ago, and like I said, I was super blessed for like the way my career has gone. And I say that because it's like I wouldn't be who I am if things didn't happen the way they did. So, and I think because of that, I learned what I needed to earlier than a lot of guys. Like if I just came into pro ball and dealt with all the, you know, the adversity and stuff here, like, okay, I would have thrown that back at myself when I was younger and been like, yeah, for sure. You need to understand adversity. You need to understand this. It's like, I had that happen in junior high and high school or in college or early on in pro ball. And I think the biggest thing for me is like, I mean, you've been in a cage with me. Like all I want to do is hit, and I want to hit, and I want to hit, and I would hit. And I was like, probably the best thing to teach myself would have been like when to stop. Or
honestly,
like,
that's a great point. It's a
like, you know, there were plenty of times I like hit too much and like my last round sucked, and I had to take another one and to make it finally feel good. But it felt good for 30 minutes before that. I could have just stopped and been like, dude, I feel so good. My swing is so dialed. Or like, I would even say like how much defense I worked on. Like, dude, I played 2 positions and like, yeah, I wouldn't have been here if I didn't really, like if I was a dang good catcher, like early on in my pro career, like, I don't know if I would have been here. Like part of the reason why I'm here is because they had better catchers than me. So they threw me in the outfield, you know, and like, then they were like, oh, well, we can put him on the infield too. And like, because that I didn't have that position, like it bounced me around. But like, if I was really good behind the plate right away, like I would have gotten more at-bats as a catcher early on. I would have played more as a catcher early on. And I probably would have gotten to the big leagues maybe faster. But I don't know that. Like hindsight's 20/20. I could be completely wrong. And then they could have added these other things on. But like I almost am, there's parts of me that are glad I didn't do that because like it's allowed me to do different things. Like the guy that's staying with me right now, he's a Gold Glove catcher in the minor leagues. He was in the Brewers organization with me. We were never at the same level. He was younger than me. But like we had 2 other guys that were my same age and same draft class along with him. And it's like all these guys can hit. I just wasn't as good of a catcher. So I got to go to the outfield.
Yeah. And I think it also, like the main point that I took from that is that, you know, there's a lot of catchers that can only catch.
Yeah.
You know, and if you're a good catcher, you can't hit, right? Or you can't play in a position, you kind of stick yourself, like you pivot, I guess like silo yourself into one area. And it's hard for them to say, okay, we like your at bat, but you're a horrible catcher and you can't play in a position. Yeah. You know, or vice versa. And so, you know, I think young kids, if there are young kids that end up watching this, it's like, don't specialize too early on. Like learn as many different positions and be athletic and, you know, learn the game from different perspectives. And I think that will help kids in the long run.
Absolutely.
I think for me, and something that you did really well was like, I didn't value working out as much in high school as I should have. And I think times have changed a little bit, right? With all the technology and like when you said, I didn't know when to stop, all I wanted to do with my dad was go to the cage and hit, go to the cage and hit. Yeah. Rarely did I want to do defense. All I wanted to do was hit. And I wish half the time I hit, I was working out and getting stronger. Because when I got stronger, it was like my sophomore, junior year of college, the game got so much easier. It slowed down for me, right? Because I was able to control my body. I was able to not get as sore or tired or whatever. Yeah. And I think that's one regret I have, knowing what I know now. You know, we were cage rats. And, you know, it was just the time of the game, though. It's so it's changed so much, right? Like our hitting facilities didn't have workout rooms, right? But you go to like all these hitting facilities now, half of it's a hitting facility and half of it's state-of-the-art gym.
Do you remember the old Diamond Sports location in Wilsonville? It had the little corner gym, and it's like it was roped off, and no one touched it except for like a guy's older brother that worked out there. But other than that, no one touched it. And like, like I went to the gym after school and stuff like that. But it's like I didn't know what I was doing. I benched 5 days a week. Like, dude, if anyone looked at me then, they would have been like, "What the heck are you doing?" Like, I benched, I did chin-ups, and I squatted like 5 days a week. And like, yeah, dude, I put on a ton of weight and I like got a lot stronger, but like I had no clue what I was doing. Like, in all honesty, my 60 times sucked until I got to college.
That's funny because that reminds me of, you know, kind of the first question of being overlooked reminds me of Baseball Northwest, right? And it was like those rankings were so brutal. And for those who don't know, Baseball Northwest was like, you know, they pretty much had control of like baseball in our area, and every year they'd have, a showcase, and then they'd rank players in each grade.
Yeah, it's like PBR, but the difference is PBR has like more scouting and like better events nowadays. But dude, Baseball Northwest, like I look back, have you checked those rankings?
My dad, I haven't, my dad still has a newspaper letter or something from a magazine where I don't think I was on it. I think it was like top 25. I might've been 25th, maybe. Right. And you look back at all those players that were above me, and I don't know, like, I think half of them didn't make it out of high school to play. And I think most of them didn't even, stopped playing baseball in college. So,
I actually looked at it recently. A friend of ours that his son is in high school. He's a junior in high school at LO. He does things with PBR, and like we were talking about that. My dad mentioned something about Baseball Northwest, so we looked up the old Baseball Northwest rankings, and because the dad was like adamant that they had like 60 times and stuff like that on there. They do now because they're still around a little bit, but like back when we did it, like they don't have that, or they didn't have it for the public. So he looked it up and he's like, okay, 2013 rankings. And this was like during our senior year, and the rankings were top 30, I think, at that point. And I was 29 or 30 out of 30. And then the years before that, I wasn't even on it. And it's like, you just see those things and you're like, that was more chip for me than anything too. It's like,
I hated that.
I see all these people over and over and over again. And it's like, I'm better than you. I'm better than you. And that's just like, that's how I looked at everything. It's like, I'm always better. Even in college, like, dude, 3 years into college, I knew I was getting drafted. And like, I was still pissed off I didn't win player of the year. Like state player of the year, league player of the year. Yeah, I got it. But like, I was still pissed off I didn't win 6A player of the year or Gatorade player of the year for the state of Oregon. Still pissed off. No, those.
It was Austin Kelly, huh?
Austin Kelly got Gatorade player of the year. He was great in high school. He was pitcher, hitter. I mean, he didn't hit the way I did, but he had like a sub-1 ERA senior year. Like he earned it because he did both. I didn't.
Yeah.
And for 6A player of the year, like the non-Gatorade one, it was Cooper Styles, but his team won the state championship that year.
Yeah.
So it's like, I tip my cap. They got it. But that pissed me off for 3-4 years. Like, there's still a little bit me in there that's like what the hell?
And I think that like mindset that you have reflects who you are more than anything. It's like, you don't forget these things, and you use them to better yourself and to never get complacent. Right. And I feel like that's how you've always been. It's like, it seemed that every level you went to, you just got better. Yeah. Right. And I think so many people get complaints that you have a big signing bonus or whatever, you made it. And it's like, oh, I made it. This, and now my talent's going to take me there. But it's a lot of the time that's not the case. So
no, 100%. And you like even bring up the signing bonus, and it's like, yeah, I got a decent like signing bonus, but like nothing crazy. I use that as fuel. Like literally I took every catcher that got drafted ahead of me. I knew exactly how much they signed for. And I literally was taking count. I was like, okay, so he owes me $500,000. He owes me $600,000. Like that was literally more motivation. And it was like one guy after another. And like, I even went into my own org and I knew exactly how much every person like got in the draft. And I was like, he got 1.2, like, give it to me. Like, you don't deserve that. Like, and it's not saying that they're not good. I just think I'm better.
Yeah.
And it just, and I'm never one to not give someone credit. Like I said, both those guys in high school, they earned it. Like they had their own reasons for getting those awards. And I didn't, that someone out there thought they were better. And that is what it is. Same thing with the draft. Someone thinks they're better and they're worth more money. And like, maybe they're more projectable, but doesn't mean that I'm not better, or that I don't think I'm better. Yeah.
And I want to preface what you're saying with that. If I was doing this interview with anyone, I would hope they'd be saying the same things, right? Like, I don't want people to think you're egotistical or cocky, because it's not true. It's how you have to be in the business you're in, right? Confidence is everything, and believing in yourself is more important than having talent. I mean, like, you don't have to go into this and you don't have to talk about it, but like, how many players have more talent than you that don't make it because they just are mentally not, like, they can't get through the mental game of the mental side of baseball?
I don't even, so like, dude, I'm 5'9", say 5'10" on my baseball card, like just reached 200 pounds for like the second time in my life. And like, but I've played with so many of these guys that are 6'4", 6'5", 6'3", and they're like jacked beyond belief, stupid athletes. They're faster than me. They're stronger than me. Like, and it's like they hit the speed bump and they can't get over it. Dude, I've played with guys that like they throw a billion across the diamond. Like I have a third baseman in mind that like rookie ball, the dude was one of the best hitters we had. Like he just barreled everything up. And the guy just stopped hitting. He hit a roadblock and mentally couldn't get over it because he was always the best. He was always the best. And it's like I saw that confidence like drain out of him. He's a pitcher now. Like he throws that hard.
Who you're talking about? Yeah, I know
he throws 100 off the mound.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about. Did he play for Menlo?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but like the dude's a great pitcher. Gross stuff, and he's always been one of the better hitters I've ever played with. One of the most talented players I've played with. He has all the tools. Yeah,
we played in my junior year as my first Friday night start, and he was pitching. And everyone, there were scouts there all for him, and it was my like game to shine, and I dominated, and we beat him. And it was like I think he was the only one that got a hit off me that game in 7 innings or 6 or 7 innings, and it was just a little blooper over third base. And it just like it's funny how you're like, oh yeah, I think it's going to be a big league one day, but it's like there's just obstacles that people don't understand that prevent talent from getting there.
100%. And then and baseball is so. What have you done for me lately? He was a level ahead of me every year, so I didn't see it firsthand, but I always knew he was incredibly talented. Yeah. I don't know what specific road bump, but like I can only imagine it was one of the road bumps I hit. Like I didn't hit for 2 weeks one year. Now all of a sudden I'm playing two times a week instead of 5.
Yeah, you just got to take advantage of your opportunity, and you always got to be ready, right? If you stay ready, you never have to get ready, and you always, whether you're on the bench, because you're not hitting well, you have to believe that the next step out, you're going to hit a home run, hit a double,
absolutely,
hit something hard, whatever. So the next question I have for you is, so your first MLB hit was a home run. It was a blast, dead center. It was sweet. I remember, I was in Arizona at the time. I went to the game the day before, so I wasn't able to see that. But what I want to know is what it felt like, not only to make your MLB debut and hit a home run in that debut, or I don't know if that was your debut. You might have gotten that back.
Debut was actually opening day.
Okay, opening day, right? Yeah, I missed your day. I missed the debut. I came to the second game.
Yeah.
But what I want to know is, so what it was like to make your MLB debut, hit a home run in your first at bat, but more so the feeling of doing it in front of all your family and friends.
Yeah. So like opening day, they actually mic'd me up for opening day, which was kind of funny to like listen to it back. And like, I was a kid in a candy shop, like, dude, and there's thousands of players that have played this game, and there are even less that have gotten to an experience in opening day. So like for my debut to come on opening day or to make the roster on opening day is like one of the biggest blessings I could ask for.
Best day in baseball.
It's amazing. And like, I don't know how to describe it. It just is like, everyone's excited for the new year. You're excited for the new year. All your teammates are excited. We thought we could win a World Series, like you walk in and like literally everyone has a chance. Yeah. And it's a great day for everyone. And not to mention, it's my first time on a big league diamond, ready to step in for a big league game. Like I had made it. So it was like, there's that moment that's indescribable and super surreal. And then to have all like my family and friends there, man, it just like the waterworks that were happening from all my family and friends that were there, and like just the excitement that we all had. It was amazing. I got my first at bat that day. I walked on 5 pitches and a pinch hit at bat. So to get in the game too, and like do something where I was like, okay, I just helped us today, was pretty cool. And then I got my first start the next day. I think it was 9 at bats before I even got a hit, or 9 plate appearances. So I was 0 for, I don't know, I think I had 4 or 5 walks or 3 or 4 walks or something like that in those at bats. So I was like 0 for 5 with 3 walks or something before I even got my first hit. It was the last at bat against San Diego in the series. And I got a hanging slider with 2 strikes. And man, I didn't even feel it. I sprinted around the bases. Like,
I know. I was about to say that. It's the fastest I've ever been told around the bases.
Oh, dude, I was flying. Like, I really want to know what I was clocked at. And part of it's because my buddy, Trent Grisham, was playing in center field. And for those that don't know, like Chase Field, you have these 2, like in center field, you have concrete in the middle for the wall. And you have 2 overhanging, like bench seats, kind of like that. They like hang onto the field by like 4 or 5 feet, but they're metal and they got really weird shapes to them. So if you hit it right, it'll shoot it into the air or it'll like ricochet in a weird way. So I was thinking, I'm going to get an inside the Parker with Trent in center field and I'll rub it in his face for months. And it went over the fence. So I didn't even get to do that.
Yeah. I mean, I think I was at my cousin's, which they're in Scottsdale, and we were watching on TV and I, like, just knowing you for so long and like knowing the journey you had to go through to get there. It was like, it almost felt like I was the one hitting the home run, right? I was like so happy for you in the moment because it's like, not only, you can get a little dinker hit for your first hit, but to make it a home run, your first trading card, big league trading cards, your like rookie card, I have them. I bought them. Were you hitting the home run? Card. Yeah. Like, and I think that's so awesome. And it, such an incredible experience. And then especially to see it on your friends and family's faces in the stands, it just like hit home with me. Right. So it was a super cool moment for me. And I'm sure obviously for you, your wife, your parents and all the friends that were there.
Yeah. So my dad's got the ball sitting right on his,
so. Yeah. And dads are so proud, right? It's like, they've been with us the entire time, right? Yeah. Wanted to go hit, they'll hit. They wanted to go do this, they'll do it. Whether they had the money at the time or not, it was helping us to be better baseball players or make us happy. They were doing it,
Absolutely.
So, shout out to dads who
no doubt
do everything they can to help their kids make it. Yeah. My next question for you is, what was the feeling like when you were traded from the Diamondbacks to the Mariners?
Okay, so second trade, little different. Okay, first one was like from Milwaukee to Arizona mid-year. So like you're changing your whole life like in a matter of 24 hours. And you're going to play the next day. So it's like totally different. And this offseason, like getting traded, you and I talked about it before, but like I bought a house, like thinking I was going to be in Arizona. Psych, 3 days before I close, like now I'm traded. Thank God it's an Arizona spring training team. And, it just happens to be the team I grew up rooting for and, my favorite team, it was really weird. Like going into the offseason, I thought I had this great plan. I knew exactly what I was doing. I thought the team was super upfront with me with Arizona. Like, this is what you need to do. This is what we need you to do. Like, this is how you're going to do it. And this is what you like, basically what you're fighting for. And like, I knew that, like, I knew where my role was. I knew what I could, kind of the ceiling would be for like leaving spring training. And I knew kind of where like, the floor was. Like everything was lined up. So I was like, okay, this is great. Like, I know exactly what I need to do. Spend the whole offseason with the coaches and like, we're going to get a lot of work done. And it was the Friday before Thanksgiving. And I'm doing like random stuff around the house. Like I'm like in the middle of shaving my neck and I get a call from our GM and the phone call is literally, hey, Coop, like, just want to let you know, like you're a Seattle Mariner now. Congrats. Thanks for everything. I know you've been through this before. We'll talk later. Done.
It's like Moneyball. It reminds you.
Totally Moneyball. Like every person I've told that to says the exact same thing. It is Moneyball to a T. And my wife is looking at me like, what just happened? And I just like, literally how I'm going to say this. I'm a Seattle Mariner. Like, that's how I said it to her. And she doesn't know what to do. I don't know what to do. We're like speechless. And before she can even say anything, I'm like, I got to call my parents and my agent. Like, literally, I'm just so like monotone, don't know how to feel like, and it took me like 30 minutes to be super excited. And it's not because I wasn't pumped to be a Mariner. Like, that's what got me pumped. but it was because like I thought my whole life was like settled in one place. Like I knew what I was doing. And now I'm like, I have to change everything up. Like I've got to go to Seattle's spring training complex, meet new coaches, get a new plan. Now I got to figure out what my role is, like all this stuff. And within 30 minutes, I had called a friend of mine too. And he was like, dude, you're on a World Series team now. Like, do you realize this? Like, plus your whole bedroom growing up was Seattle Mariners colors. Like, isn't this a dream come true? And like within seconds, I was jumping up and down and I was like, I'm a Seattle Mariner. I'm a Seattle Mariner. I'm like freaking out. I was ecstatic. And so like, that's how I've been ever since. Like I'm beyond excited and blessed and just so happy to be in Seattle.
Yeah. And I also want to say though, I feel like Seattle, like last year, they developed this like energy and camaraderie and chemistry as a team where like everyone's super fun, everyone's super happy, energetic, happy for each other. Someone can struggle. It doesn't matter. As long as the team's winning, no one seemed to care. And I was like, when my buddies sent me the Instagram post of like you getting traded, I'm like, perfect fit. I'm like, perfect fit. He's going to go in there and fit right in with the rest of the group of people because it's like his energy is that energy and it's contagious. And like, you're going to help the team in more ways than just hitting and playing defense.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's what they said to me too. It's like, I've had a conversation with, Jerry DiPoto and Justin Hollander, and like both of them have said that. They're like, we've already heard about your personality. We already knew who you were. Like that just made it easier to trade for you. Like,
yeah. And I want to say, for those that don't know, you got traded for a rookie of the year, like 2 years before, right? Yeah. So that goes to show you how valuable they must have felt about you. And, and I also had like these conversations with some buddies who are Mariners fans. And I'm like, the difference between Kyle Lewis and Cooper Hummel is, Kyle's a great center fielder, but Cooper can catch. He can play infield. He can play outfield. He's not limited to a pinch hit AB against a lefty. He can come against a lefty or a righty. And it's like there's so much more opportunity. They're getting a much better bang for their buck with you as someone that can contribute in so many different ways. It adds so much value to their team and it makes the manager's job so much easier as well. So.
I mean, Kyle's obviously an incredible player, and like I'm not a rookie of the year. Like I didn't win that, and and dude, he's a hell of a player. But I mean, you said it. Like he can't play center field anymore because Julio's there.
Yeah.
So he's a left or a right fielder, and he's right-handed. So like, and every team is kind of going to this. We're going to play the matchups a little bit more, and I have no idea what his splits are, lefties versus righties, and maybe he's an incredible right-on-right hitter. But yeah, like it definitely bodes well for me that I'm a switch hitter and I can catch, or God forbid Cal or Tom get hurt this year, but like I can catch at longer stints if they need me to, or I can go play left. Like, yeah, we've got 6 outfielders or 5 outfielders, but like, what if Kelnick's hurt? What if Pollock's hurt? What if I'm not even going to mention Julio, but like.
But it's true. It's reality.
It's true. Like,
it's reality. So,
and you said it, and like, do I need some ground balls if I'm going to do it? Yeah, I absolutely need to play, take some ground balls if I'm going to play some infield. But like, I can do it, and I hope I can, kind of help them fill in whatever like role they need me to play. And it also allows other guys to like be utilized in their best ability too. Like you allow Cal to hit more frequently instead of giving him an off day, like the guy had 29 or 28 homers last year, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. And like, who knows?
One of the most memorable ones in Mariner history. So
yeah, one of the most, exactly. But like, who knows? Maybe you give him a few extra rest days and let him DH. Maybe that helps him become even the better hitter that he could be. You just don't know. So yeah, like I hope my versatility helps the team, and I'm not really worried about it just being for myself, but like helping everyone else too, because you can do different things like that. You can allow different players to play different positions because you also have, I have that versatility on the bench that can be thrown in if you need it.
Yeah. So I got to ask. So my favorite Mariner growing up, is between like Felix Hernandez and Ichiro. Right. Okay. Right. So I want to know, I know Ichiro last year was like, he coached, right? I don't know what he did, whether he was a bench coach or like a hitting coach. I don't remember. Is he still a coach? And have you been able to work with him at all?
He is still a coach. He shows up. I can get you the exact date, but I want to say his physical is like next week on like Tuesday or Wednesday. So he shows up then. He's a coach. And I am beyond excited to work with him. Like, he was my favorite player growing up. Not just because of the way he just his overall player, but like, I loved how he hit. He wasn't the biggest. He didn't care about hitting homers. He was going to, he was going to go out and he was going to just beat you up, and you were just going to get absolutely pissed off because of the way he hit and like how his at-bats were. And then he was a Gold Glover for 10 years in a row and an All-Star for 10 years in a row. And like
MVP, Rookie of the Year, the list of like Silver Slugger. Like, I mean,
he's one of the best ever.
I think I would make the argument that he came over at 27, I want to say. If he came over at 21 or 20, like a lot of our rookies now, you're adding what, 5-6 Gold Gloves, 5-6 All-Stars, maybe a couple more MVPs.
So if you're getting
hits,
his rookie year was the same year he won an MVP, and I don't think he won an MVP again after that.
No, he didn't.
But also in those same years, he won a Gold Glove for 10 years in a row, Silver Slugger for 10 years in a row, and he was an All-Star for 10 years. You can argue in some cases that the year he had 262 hits, he should have won the MVP. Like, no one hits like that anymore. But you give it to the guy with more pop or whatever, more stolen bases or kind of whatever. But but yeah, like, he had 200 hits for 10 years in a row.
It's incredible. I mean,
you do that for the 5 years prior to, he would have had 1,000 more hits in the U.S. and he would have more hits than Pete Rose.
Yeah,
I think he's the best hitter ever.
Yeah, I want to even say player, and the only reason I say that is you look at his defensive skills, you look at his arm, you look at his ability to steal bags. He stayed out of controversy. He played the game the right way that every kid wanted to emulate, and it was just like this he brought baseball like back to Seattle on a whole new level. And ever since he came over and he was like the 2001 team, I want to say, it was like Seattle's a baseball city. And when I went to the playoffs this past year, it was like the most magical, electric atmosphere I've ever been to for a sporting event. And I've been to a lot. And it was the 18-inning game, 1-0. It was pretty disappointing. But every single fan stayed the whole game. Every single fan gave a round of applause, standing ovation to the team after. Yeah, right? It's like they appreciate that you don't got to win a championship. And there's a lot of like fan base out there. It's like, if you don't win a championship, like, you got to, we're mad. But it's like, you guys just gave us this magical season and we're so appreciative. And I love that about Seattle. And I want to say Ichiro was one of the nucleuses that helped create this atmosphere in Seattle. So
yeah, no doubt.
All-time great. I can't wait to hear more about, you getting to work with him. But my last question, and I want to end it on a fun note. So I know you like sneakers. I like sneakers too. So what's your favorite sneaker that you have? And then what is a sneaker that you'd love to add to your collection that you don't have, or maybe it's like too expensive, whatever it is.
So the one I have that's my favorite is the Spider-Man Jordan 1.
Okay.
Mine was one of the ones that, like, they did the mass release. Like, I think the week before they did like a private release with like a specialty Spider-Man box. I do not have that one. I have the one with the normal box. But that's probably one of my favorites just because of like the sheer like design that they like, how the details are so intricate, like the 3M on it and like how the light reflects off of it, showing the spider webs kind of on the Jordan. Not to mention like the bottoms of them are that clear gum bottom. So I think that's really sick. You don't really see that a lot on a lot of Jordans. Yeah. That one's probably my favorite that I own. I've got a couple other pairs that are like funky colors. Like, I love purple. So I've got a couple, they're basic Jordan ones. I don't have anything like out there aside from that Spider-Man one. And this is another basic one that I just want. I want the Jordan 4 Toro Bravo.
Okay.
Nothing extremely expensive. I just have this fascination towards it. It was something in college. My roommate had a pair. My roommate sold shoes out of our college house, and it was just something that always kind of eluded my collection. and hopefully I can get a pair for myself this year. But yeah, I like to be able to wear my shoes. So like if I'm buying a pair that's like $1,500, like I think I'd have a heart attack. even when you make good money, like that's too much for me. So yeah, something like the Toro Bravo Jordan 4 would be like what I want.
Well, you have a great year and you sign a big contract, and maybe those $1,000-$2,000 shoes, you're like,
I still don't think I'd ever buy those.
I know you see some guys though that, like, especially during like All-Star weekend or some of those big names that, hundreds of millions of dollars, they're wearing these like,
they don't pay for those.
Jealous.
They don't pay for them.
They just get them from Nike pretty much.
You should see some of the guys at spring training or like during the year and like the things that just show up in their lockers where they're like, this is cool. Yeah. And I'm like sitting there going,
yeah,
you got an extra pair for me?
Hey, we're the same size.
Yeah, literally. No, dude, I did that to Manny Machado this year. Like he steps up to the box and like we were in the middle of a review from the previous batter. So like he came up and we were kind of chatting before his at bat. And he's a Jordan guy. So the first thing I said was, bro, those are sick. Like, your shoe size is probably a little big for me, but can you hook me up? And he goes, dude, I got a full locker, like an entire storage unit full of Jordans. Like we could make something work. And like just a total homie. And like we were joking about it the whole time. And like, but dude, it's like guys like that. It's like you're getting 10 pairs of Jordan sent to you from Jordan.
Get whatever you want, really. You have your agent ask the
like half the time they don't even ask, it just shows up. Like I'm not even kidding. It is absurd. Like the things I've seen people like get sent to them. It's stupid.
Yeah, and I bet one of your teammates, Julio, is about to be that same type of player, getting stuff sent to him left and right. So
he hasn't even arrived yet, and his locker is full of boxes.
Yeah, I'm. You know what? I am so excited to hear like what it's like playing with Julio. He is like becoming my favorite player now.
Yeah,
because of his energy and his like youth, and he pretty much just like carried the Mariners last year. I mean, there was a lot of pieces of that puzzle that helped them achieve what they did. Yeah. But like his energy, with what is it, Eugenio Suarez and all those guys in the mix, it was something special. So, anyways, Coop, that's all I have for you today. I just want to say, like, I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me. I'm a nobody, right? Like, I'm not a media person. I don't have this big channel, but
you're back from growing up.
Yeah, and I appreciate it, and I look forward to sharing this for the other people to see and learn from you and hear about your experience, because I think you shared a lot of valuable stuff that people can really learn from and better themselves as people who aspire to be someone like you one day. So,
yeah, dude, absolutely, glad to do it.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch you, dude. When you come out to Chicago, I'm definitely going to be there. But good luck in spring training.
Appreciate it.
Tear it up. So
appreciate it. We'll do, and hopefully we'll bring a World Series to Seattle this year. And I'm sure we could have this conversation go a lot longer.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would love that more than anything in the world, and I would be there. I would spend as much money as I had to be there. So, anyways, Coop, have a good rest of your night, man.
Sounds good. You too, man.
All right, take care.